St. Thomas Aquinas was a philosopher and theologian that combined the theological principles of faith with the works of philosophical principles of reason. Going back to his early life, he had lots of brothers and sisters, and he was born in Roccasecca, Italy in 1225 and lived to the age of 49. As a kid, his parents always hoped that he'd choose the path of life and to eventually become an abbot, which is a man who is the head of the Abbey of Monks. So when Thomas was at the age of 5, his parents prearranged him to the Benedict monastery at Monet Cassino, where they dedicated everything to the glory of God and lived a monastic life with a purpose. As he continued studying as a young boy, in 1239 he was then sent to Naples to complete his studies of monastic life. By 1243, Thomas abandoned his family's desires for him and instead joined the Dominicans that left his mother in shock. She wasn't going to let him go, so she ordered Thomas's brother to capture him and keep him home for over a year. Once the year was over and Thomas was set free, he went to Paris and Cologne, where he got to finish his studies with Albert and the Great, who was a German Catholic Dominican friar and bishop. After the constant studying and traveling all over the world, Thomas was now living a life as a priest where he held 2 professorships at Paris, where he lived at the court Pope Urban VI. Living there, he got to direct the Dominican schools at Rome and Viterbo, where he also combated adversaries of the Mendicants and Averroes. As the life of a priest, he wrote lots of books that were inspired to him by God. His actions consisted of worshiping God's saying and wanted everyone to listen to what God wanted everyone to understand and learn. He would write about the unity, harmony, and continuity of faith and reason of revealed and natural human knowledge. He was a man that had so much to say about these things because in his eyes he saw them as the whole natural order coming from God. With such powerful teaching, it was not easy for Thomas to provide the word of God to everyone. As one of his writings, Summa contra Gentiles, discussed the differences between philosophy and theology with reason and revelation. The Archbishop and Paris did not approve of this and wanted Thomas condemned for this nonsense of how God really was. The Roman Curia wasn't going to allow it and put a stop to it, but then took another 200 years for his teachings to fully be hailed as a permanent. But in the end, he saved the church. After his writings were done, he was declared Doctor of the Church, with both Protestant and Catholic scholars drew up his writings to teach students how to successfully live life. In Thomas's writings, they believed young people would be taught it at a young age, to become a loving person and believe in God. As such a strong writer, Thomas had discussed theories of importance like natural law theory, where it recognizes law and morality that are defined with human laws instead of an authority figure. Another theory he made was theory of action, where it overall discusses that one man's actions stay forever within the one who acts, explaining that one's following of thought from an internal activity comes with an uncontrollable side effect that we as a person can control, like a domino effect. Now, as we talk about the basic goods, they are known to be the basic values and principles that we as humans live with to follow. The first one is life, which is the first thing we all experienced once we were born on earth and motivated to live and continue living life. It is necessary foundation of all the basic goods that help us drive as humans for self-preservation and self-determination. Second, reproduction, which assures us to the continuation of human life on earth to be developed better. We need this in our life to follow the human population to succeed and follow God to continue life to grow as we are the cause for reproduction. Third, educate one's offspring, which is teaching those younger the importance of living like a good person and have knowledge of life. We need this to allow our society to develop and become a better place by showing those younger the right path to life and appreciate what they're given. Fourth, is seek God, where we've all been exposed to God and His works, whether people believe it or not. We experience this in our lives with the smallest of actions that are never recognized as being works of God. But being simply alive is a huge part because God created you to be on this earth and survive in your mother's stomach. Fifth is live in society that discusses we humans are naturally social animals, so it's common to live within a community with others. The reason of our desire to love, accept, and peer pressure are just some evidence that happen in our lives with the works of our society, because we can't simply control these feelings inside of us. The sixth is to avoid offense, where when us humans feel shame and guilt from things we've done causing us to feel sad and pain. The reason of this